Hello there, friends. Welcome back to my channel. It's Amy here, and today we are going to make some cards. So what you are seeing right here is page 24 and 25 in the current November-December idea book from Close to My Heart. This went live a week ago today, and like every publication, we have collections that are featured in the idea book, and those collections are offered in pre-packaged scrapbooking workshop kits as well as card making workshop kits. And this is the card making workshop kit. I love these kits because you get an exclusive stamp set that also has exclusive thin cuts. So even if I don't particularly care for the cards that the workshop kit walks us through, I always like to get the kit because I love the exclusive stamp set and thin cuts, and that's the only way you can get it. Well, this is our Evergreen card making kit. I went through all of the product in this publication in my catalog walkthrough back a week ago. So if you missed that, I'll add the link to the description box below so you can see everything. But I absolutely love these cards. There was only one change I made, and it was very minor. And so what I thought I would do, because I've never done this before, is actually create the cards with you so you can see just how easy these card kits are. And if you are one that wants to make Christmas cards this year, this would be a great way to do that, because this kit creates 16 cards. You get to make 4 each of these designs. 3 are the standard A2 size cards, and then 1 is a slimline card. And you could very easily do this as a beginner as well. So I tend to get lots of people at the last minute saying, I want to make Christmas cards. What do I do? This is a great way to do it. And I can tell you, I think that this card kit is going to sell out. So if it's something you like, you might want to pick it up more sooner than later so you don't miss out. And stay until the end of this video, because I'm going to share with you how you can take one of these card designs and use it with different papers and a different stamp set. So you can see here, this is what's in the card kit. You get all of your card stocks that you need. You get your pattern paper. You get your card bases and envelopes. You get an embellishment, which is the Evergreen shimmer trim. I love this. It's not Evergreen, it's pine shimmer trim. Love a little shimmer. And then you get the stamp set and the thin cuts. Now, to save time, I have already cut and prepped all my pieces. Also, very important, in with the kit you get the instruction guide, so you can see that it walks you through all the different size pieces you need to cut on all the different papers. Then it gives you the picture of the card, it gives you some prep steps, and then assembly instructions with even guides like measurements of where to put your paper pieces. And it does that for all 4 of the cards. This is the stamp set. So let me show you here. And just like all other Close to My Heart stamps, it comes in this nice storage envelope. The back of the title piece tells you how to care for your stamps, how to season your stamps, all the things. Another nice thing is every stamp set comes with this piece of foam, which makes it great to use as a stamping platform. Whatever you're going to stamp, put your paper on top of this, and then you can stamp your image, and it just helps to give it a more even stamped image. Here are our stamp images, and then all of our die cut pieces. So you will need a die cut machine to use these. I highly recommend the Close to My Heart one. I had another one for I think 12 years. it finally died, and it was actually some customers who told me to invest in the Close to My Heart one, and they did not disappoint. It cuts like butter. But this is a great stamp set because you get nice big words, are great for cards, but great for scrapbooking as well, gift tags, all things paper crafting. And then you get the little words that you can create sentiments. So you could say Christmas wishes, merry and bright, holiday wishes, all different types of things. So let me clear my table and we will get started making card number 1. Okay, so I have all my parts and pieces for card number 1. I'm going to bring in my Versamat and use the back because that's got a nice foam surface. And then I'm also going to bring in that little foam piece that comes with the stamp set. I will keep my instructions over here, and I'm actually going to turn to that first card. So this is the card that we are going to create. I've got my piece of acorn, and it's telling us to use the mocha ink. And when you're if you purchase these card kits and you want to change things up a bit, you totally can. Like I mentioned, there was one thing I changed in one of the cards, and I'll share that with you when we get to that card. So I'm going to pull off my wishes. When you pull your stamps off the carrier sheet, they are very sturdy, but just kind of roll your thumb under it and peel it off. And I will get my block. And if you have not seasoned your stamp yet, if you haven't used it yet, how you want to season it is I just rub it on my arm. Or you can take a rub and remove eraser and erase it. In the manufacturing, there is a film that is on the images. You just want to kind of erase that so that you'll get a more clear image. Now, I've already used this, so I'm not too concerned about it, but I did want to just demonstrate that for you. Okay, so now we are going to stamp our wishes. And this is the mocha ink on the new Acorn paper. Love that. This wishes image you could even use on, other things besides Christmas. I'm going to take my stamp chamois and clean that off, and then we'll put this back on the carrier sheet. I'm going to try and clean up as I go. And then they have down warm winter wishes. So I'm going to use that because I like that saying. I'm going to get a smaller block, and we will stamp that in the mocha ink as well, right above it. Just letting my block sit there for a second so the ink has time to absorb into the paper. So we've got our warm winter. And then you might notice that there is some sponging around the interior of the card, of this piece of the card. And they tell you exactly what to do in the instructions. They're telling you to use a round sponge, which I do have, but another thing that I like to do is use our blending brushes. And I'm going to take my Acorn ink and just pick up some of the ink. I'm going to dab off on my all-purpose mat that I brought in, and I am just going to add a little bit of sponging around the perimeter of this piece, and it just kind of gives it a little bit of texture and makes for a little bit more interest. You don't need a lot. Go with a light hand because you can always add more if you want, but you can't take any away. I like that. I think that makes it pop perfectly. I'm going to clean my all-purpose mat before I forget. And then I'll move the mat out of the way. So we've got our sentiment. So now all we have to do is build our card. Now here are the thin cut pieces that I cut off camera. So I love that there is the solid pine cone and then the detailed pine cone. I'm just going to use my Close to My Heart adhesive on this. It works great. And what I did is I cut the solid pine cone out of the dark side of our mocha. If you have been around for a while, you know our cardstock is double-sided, and I see a little piece that didn't pop out. Let me get my scissors or my piercing tool. So it was on the dark side, and then the detailed top I just did on the light side. And I'm going to line this up a little bit better. Sometimes this is hard to do when you're looking through your phone. Another thing I like about this particular collection is pine cones are good for all year or all winter, and it doesn't matter if you live in a warm climate or a cold climate, you can use them. Okay, so isn't this paper gorgeous? So this is one of the patterns in Evergreen. The back side is this pine tone on tone, which is beautiful as well. And we are going to adhere this right here. And again, I cut all of my pieces off camera following the guide that comes with the kit. Okay, and then we've got this little piece of Seabrook, and that's going to go like that. And this is going to go right over it. But it does, if you see, we do have some Evergreen shimmer trim. So there's two ways that you can do this. This is adhesive backed shimmer trim. And what I normally like to do is keep a little tail so it's easier to peel off. So here is the backing, and then this is sticky. So I usually like to keep a little tail to make it easier to peel off, but you can see I just used my scissors and was able to find that backing fairly easy. But this is the same width as this. So what I am going to do is cut this. And then I'm going to get my paper trimmer. And I'm going to stick it right in here like this, and I'm going to cut this in half because it's a 1/2 inch width and we just want half of that. And it sticks right on the paper trimmer and it peels right off, so it makes it very easy. Now I did cut it a little bit longer. You know what I'm going to do? I am going to just put a little bit of adhesive here because we are going to use foam tape. But this will guide me on where to put my shimmer trim. So you know what I'm going to do? Do I have a pencil here? I don't. Okay, I got a pencil, and so I'm just going to mark here and here. So I know where to adhere my shimmer trim. And let me get the other piece off my trimmer, and I probably should bring in my Versamat so I know that these are straight. So I'm just going to find some lines. Okay, I did that pretty good up top. So now we'll do this one. Okay, and then we will just trim. And then we can adhere this to here. Now you'll notice that this is a little bit thicker than this one, but that's okay because I'm not going to worry about that because this is going right on top, so you won't even be able to tell. All right, so let's go ahead and adhere this piece to the center of our card. And then I am going to pop this up with some thin foam tape. So I'm using the regular width, the 1/2 inch width, but it's the thin thickness. And did I bring my other scissors over here? I did not, so I'll just use the ones I have here. I'm using my micro tip non-stick scissors, and those are good because the residue won't stick to the blade. And I like to be generous with my foam tape because I don't want any of the card pieces to dent and crush in the mail. I want them all to be the same height. So we will line this up, and so that's all nice one surface. And then we will build our little cluster here. And again, I just followed along in the guide on how to arrange this. Now, it's interesting. I am always one to put my pine cone so that the tip is facing down, but in all of these pictures, the pine cone is going up. So I don't know if there's a right way or a wrong way. I don't know. What do you think? Does it go up? The point go up, or does the point go down? And does it really matter? I'll put this one right here like this. And then I will go like that, and I'm going to do it flat. So there is card number 1. See how fast that went? And that was even with me talking. And so your card kit will allow you to make 4 of that design. So let's go ahead and move right into card number 2. We'll flip over. And here is card number 2. It is a vertical card. And I have my pieces in my envelope. And again, they're telling us to sponge a little bit. And I like that because it kind of makes it look like it's a little bit suede. And it's the acorn with the acorn again. So I'm going to bring in my all-purpose mat. Love my all-purpose mat. It's got a kind of silicone coating on the back so it won't slide, which is nice. I'm going to grab my Acorn ink and my blending brush again. And when you read the instructions and look at this piece, they're sponging the whole thing. So I'm going to tap some of my ink off and just do that round motion again. And you want to tap off because you don't want a big harsh blob. You want it all to kind of be even. And start with a light hand, and then you can add some more. And I think I want to add some more. And again, that's just all preference. And I think I like that. Let me clean my mat. And then on another piece, it's having us do some random stamping with the rosemary ink. And rosemary is a really pretty shade. It's got some green in it. It's got some gray in it. And on our stamp set are 2 itty bitty snowflakes. So we'll start with the bigger of the 2. And I always just start in the center, and then I just kind of make triangles. So there's a triangle. So now I'll put another one right here. These are very delicate little images, so you don't have to press super hard down on the paper. And you can see how I'm stamping off the edge as well. That just makes it look more like it was an actual piece of paper. Now let's get that itty bitty, and it is tiny. So when you get done stamping with it, you definitely want to put it back on your carrier sheet. I did use these already, so they were seasoned. This little one is just too cute. I'll be using that quite a bit. All right, I think that's good. I'm going to clean this, so I don't want to lose it. And then there is one other little piece of stamping that we have to do on this little itty piece. And I don't know how to pronounce it. It's French, that joyeux, that French word for joy. And we are going to stamp this in mocha. I'm going to put it right in the center. It's teeny tiny. And then, let me clean this. Put it back on my carrier sheet. And then I am going to dovetail this. I'm going to make this just a little bit shorter. The instructions don't tell you to do that, but I am going to do that. And then I am going to do a little dovetail. On both sides, and you do that by, I'm just eyeballing the center and then going from one corner up to the center and the other corner up to the center. And then we have our dovetail piece, and then I am going to do some paper distressing, taking the ink pad right to the paper. So that's another way to add your distressing, and I like that. Okay, I'm going to clean my hands on my chamois, and then we have to stamp our Noel. So we'll get our Noel, and get my block, and we're stamping the Noel in pine. I'm going to twist it a little bit because it's a solid stamp. And I had already seasoned it. I'm going to put this right in the center. This would make a great image for a tag too. Love all that design in the letters. And isn't that pine color just so pretty? I love this whole color palette. And we'll put that back on the carrier sheet, and I think we are ready to build our card. So I'm going to give this a nice crisp fold, and then we've got all of our strips here, and we're going to stagger these so they don't go all, they're not even. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm just dry fitting these right now. And then this, Noel, we are going to take our Acorn ink and use the sponge. And this is another way that you can add some texture. Our round sponge is very easy to cut. So I usually cut it into 4 little pieces like this. And so you can use one sponge for 4 different colors. And then this is going to go right here like this. So I'm just going to dry fit it all, and then I can assemble off camera. Then we've got our little pieces here. So this is a little strip of rosemary, and that's going to go right here like that. And this one is going to go here like that. And then we're going to get our pine shimmer trim, and I just cut a little piece off. I'm going to dovetail this just like I did our little joy, French joy word, that's what I'll call it. So again, I'm finding the center and then going from one corner to the next. And I'm going to adhere this with some red line tape because it is on the glitter paper. And then I'll dovetail that part. So I'll do that off camera. And then we'll just add our embellishments. So I will be back in just a second. All right, so I've got everything added except for this last sprig. And that is going to go right there like that. And card number 2 is done. See how quick? And they're so pretty. All right, card number 3 is a slimline card. And again, I have all of the parts and pieces cut. And let's flip our Versamat over. And we'll do our stamping first. I'm just going to give this a nice crisp fold. And we are going to stamp the Mary. I love that these 3 words are big, and I love that each one is in a different font. Let me get my 2x3 block, and this one is going to be inked up in that pretty pine color as well. And I have used these, so I have seasoned them. And I'm going to try and eyeball this right in the center, but I don't get too hung up on if it's not exact. And then I'm just going to let it sit for a second just so the ink can absorb into the paper. And I'm not too fond of that, so let's try it again. I'm going to pull in this foam sheet and we'll try it again. No mistakes in stamping. If you don't like how something looks, just turn it over and try again. You don't want to rock the block, but you just want to apply a little bit of pressure. That's better. Clean my stamp. And then we're going to get the little word Christmas to put underneath. I'll get my little block. Are you guys heavily into the Christmas spirit? Have you put up your tree? It seems like each year more and more people are putting their tree up either before Halloween or right after Halloween. We always put ours up on Thanksgiving night after we've eaten and before we watch The Grinch. That is our tradition. We watch The Grinch. and then we put the tree up. Or we'll put the tree up, and then, you know, we'll set it up and we'll put the lights on. And before we start putting the ornaments on, we'll shut off all the lights except for the Christmas tree lights and watch The Grinch. The Grinch has been my favorite Christmas special since I was a little girl, and it's the original Christmas cartoon, not the more modern with the real people. It's got to be the original cartoon. So you can see I just took my sponge and my pine ink and sponged around just to give it some dimension. I think that my kids, now that they're older, they just humor me and they'll sit and they'll watch it with me. Although I do know they enjoy it. But we'll all sit on the couch and snuggle in front of the Christmas tree lights and watch it. And then we will put up all the ornaments. And most of the ornaments, or a good portion of them, are our children's. We always, my husband and I, when we travel, we always would buy ornaments for them. And then they'll usually get an ornament each year that represents something about what transpired over the year, kind of as a remembrance. And then once they have their own place and put up a tree, now they all have their own places now, but they don't necessarily put up a tree. But when they have a family or they're a little bit more into decorating, I will pack up all of their ornaments and give them to them. But buying ornaments is one of my favorite things to do, and I always like to get ornaments that represent something we did. So as my husband says, our tree tells a story. With every ornament has a meaning behind it. And when we first moved to South Carolina, you know, the style is a lot different here. Everything is, I don't know, when we lived in Ohio, it was more country, you know, I don't want to say primitive, but, and I don't want to say like farmyard, because I like the farm look, the barn look, but it just different. And so I was like, oh, I gotta buy all new ornaments. And he's like, no, all our ornaments tell a story. And he was right, and I'm glad that I didn't do that. So I'm sitting here blabbing about our Christmas tree, and hopefully you're watching how I am assembling all the pieces just the way the instructions tell us to do. And then we have a pine cone out of the toffee, and the solid is in the dark side, and the decorative top layer is on the light side. So you can see what a nice detail that gives us. I love how our Close to My Heart cardstock is two-tone, because it's like two colors in one. But it's also fun, you could mix and match. I think that this decorative done cut in gold glitter paper would be really pretty, or even in pattern paper. So then looking at the guide, they have one pine cone facing down, one facing up, and then we've got our sprigs. And then I don't see here, but we need to have all our little strips, and I know maybe they're in the card. No. So what I am missing, I thought I had cut, are the little pieces, just the little strips right here. So let me go ahead and adhere these, and I'll cut my other strips, and then I'll be back with the finished card. All right, so here is the finished card, and I did mount the sentiment piece, the mocha, with foam tape, and you'll see that I added the green, the pine shimmer trim underneath it. So I adhered that shimmer trim down, and it just goes part way on each side. And then the sentiment piece was popped up with the foam tape. And then we've got our embellishments. So that's card number 3. Now we will turn to card number 4, and then I will show you the attic card that I did using a pattern and a different set of papers. So here are all of our paper pieces, and this is our sentiment piece. So let's go ahead and get that Mary, and we are going to ink that with the Acorn. And I apologize for the phone. The phone, I thought I put it off the hook, but I guess I didn't. And this is the card that I made one slight change. So we're going to stick this right here. Again, I'm going to let it sit for a second just to absorb into the paper. And then let me clean this. And if you look on the sample, I like how they have, may your days be merry and bright. So let's get may your days be, and we're going to ink that up in the mocha. I'm going to put this right here, and then we'll get that other image. It says and bright, and these are teeny tiny, very delicate, so when you're done, I do advise you to put them back on the carrier sheet, and when you are stamping them, use a light hand. I tend to be heavy-handed, so I have to really be conscious of that. Then we're going to take those cute little snowflakes again and our rosemary ink and do a few more. So there's the bigger. I'm calling them snowflakes. They're like starbursts. I shouldn't say snowflakes, because I don't want you to think you can only use them in the wintertime. So cute. Okay. And when I clean the small ones, I don't rub it. I just kind of dab it onto my chamois, because you don't want it to rub off of the block. Okay, and then this one also has some sponging around it with our sponge. So we're just going to go like this, and you can do as much or as little as you want. But that round sponge is really economical, because you can cut it into 4ths or even 8ths and get 8 little wedges. Okay, I like that. And then we're going to adhere this to our mocha mat, and I'm going to move this so that you can see a little bit better. And we're going to adhere this with our foam tape so it pops a little bit. And again, I'm using the thin thickness, but the wider width. Peel this off. And then that's going to go, so it's just a teeny bit of a border, and it's all nice in one width. And then we've got our card base, So this is a piece of rosemary, and it's cut a 1/4 of an inch smaller. You know what, before we do that, I'm going to pull in my all-purpose mat. I probably shouldn't have done that adhering, because we are going to adhere this little piece, which is actually a part of a zip strip from this paper, and this is going to get adhered right at the top. But then there's a little bit of foam of shimmer trim. So again, I'm going to pull in my trimmer, and I know it's about 4 inches long, so I always cut a little bit extra. And I'm going to adhere this to my trimmer again. And in the picture, it looks like it's almost like almost a 1/16. So I'm just going to do the best I can. And then I can save that for another card. And that is going to go right here, like that. And then I can pick this up and trim this. Again, I'm using my micro non-tip scissors, non-stick tip scissors. Right, now we can put this on. And you know what? I think I made another mistake, but we'll be able to fix that because I use the close to my heart adhesive. So with this piece, we're going to dovetail. So I'm eyeballing the center. We're going to make a slit up the front, up the middle, go from one corner to that slit, the other corner to that slit, and then I'm going to peel this up. This is why I love the close to my heart adhesive, because this is going to go flush with the top of that rosemary cardstock. Now I'll add a little bit more, and you won't even know. There we go. How about that? This is a dream. All right, then this piece is going to adhere right here. And then this is where I made a change. So on the sample, they cut the pine cone in the rosemary and the Seabrook, but I thought that was too light. So I used the toffee and then use rosemary, and this sprig was cut out of the pine pattern paper, and this will go right here like that. And for the magic of television, here is our finished card. So that is the 4 cards that you create with this kit. And look how fast and easy they are, and they're gorgeous. Which one's your favorite? And now, before I end, I just want to show you how I am taking the pattern that we just did, and I am going to use the November stamp of the month. So this one is called Thanks a Bunch, and as you can see, it's got all kinds of thankful and grateful and gratitude sentiments, and I love that they're all in different fonts. We've got a little foo-foo fluffy stamps to add in there. And what's nice about the stamp of the month is you can get it for just, you can earn it for just $5 or free. If you are in the VIP customer membership, you can earn it for free with a minimum $50 order. The stamp set is a $19.95 value. Or if you're not in the membership, you can earn it for just $5. And it's available for that month only. So it's this stamp set's only available for the month of November. So what I am doing is I'm following this pattern, but I'm making a horizontal card. And I am using the papers from our current Mix-Ins collection. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, we always have 2 featured collections. And then there is a Mix-Ins collection, which is created to go with both of the featured collections. And 99.99999% of the time, these papers will go with lots of other collections as well. So I am using this collection and using this pattern as a stepping off point, but then kind of made it my own. So here is our piece of cardstock, and I am going to take the word grateful. And these are great, these images in the November stamp of the month, they're great for card making, but also they would make great titles and sentiments for scrapbook pages as well. Okay, so I got my black ink. I'm going to pull in my little foam piece. I should have my Versamat, but let's hope for the best here. I'm going to use the light side. Hopefully I didn't put too much ink on that. I'll just lightly, let's keep our fingers crossed. Okay, I didn't go quite hard enough, but let me teach you a trick. As you can see, I didn't get a real great coverage on all of it. So what I am going to do is get my black Le Pen journaling pen and just color in where it's a little bit lighter than I would like it to be. So again, all mistakes are fixable in the stamping world. My kind of craft, right? There. And then I do want to get my Mink, and I'm going to get my sponge, and we'll distress a little bit. So definitely save the guides, the workshop guides that come with whatever kits you purchase, or the free guides that are always offered on my website. Even if you don't get those products, download them, because you can use those guides with stamps and papers and embellishments that you have in your stash. I always try to remind you of that. Okay, so that says grateful, and then kind of like the Evergreen card making kit, you've got all these little phrases. So there's one that says, for all the cherished moments. I want to send this to my BFF who came to visit me not once but twice this summer. We had a bonus girlfriend's week and it was the best. So again, this one is delicate, so I am wanting to go gentle. Perfect. And I love that it's in different fonts. I think that that just makes the sentiments really pop all the more. All right, so now we're going to adhere this to the center of our card with foam tape, but I'm only going to put it in the middle because we're going to lay some pattern paper underneath it. So this is going to go right here like this. I love these colors. And then I've got my little strips. And these are part of the zip strips in that Mix-Ins collection. I got to get my other strip. I don't see it here. But then we'll take our thin cuts, and you can see here that some of the little holes in the top of the pine cone didn't punch out. So this is where your piercing tool or your tip of your scissors comes into use. So I'm just punching these out. And I use the toffee. The dark side is the solid. And the top decorative piece is the light side. I'm sorry, the solid one is the dark side. So that's going to go there. And then we've got the mocha. And again, I just have to punch out these little pieces. And you see they come out really easily. I usually will cut 2 pieces of paper at once on my die cut machine. So sometimes when it's real intricate like that, some of the pieces don't fall out all on their own. That will go here. And then we've got our sprigs. So these will go like this. And these will go like that. And with the magic of TV, here is the finished card. So this was the original card from this is the one that, yeah, from the guide. And then I just took it and rotated it and added a different stamp set and some different papers. So these guides, you can really stretch them. So there you have it, the Evergreen Card Making Workshop Kit. If you like these, I highly recommend, again, that you purchase more sooner than later, just because I do think it's going to sell out because the stamp set and the thin cuts are so popular. And when you purchase that guide, if you get close to the $50 mark, add some adhesive or something else, and you can get the November stamp set for free as a VIP member, or $5 if you aren't a member. But there's also a special sign-up bonus for those joining the VIP program this month. You get $25 credit into your account right away. So the membership for a whole year ends up only costing $10. As always, thank you for joining me today. If you like this video and could give it a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. If you don't already subscribe, if you could hit that subscribe button, that just helps my little channel to grow. I sure do appreciate your support, and we'll catch you on the next video. Bye-bye.